Okay, it's now the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to today's webinar. Today we're going to be talking about how you can go about applying a Google approved web content strategy to your law firm website. So thank you for taking the time to join us today. Just a few housekeeping matters before we get started. This webinar is being recorded and will be sent to you via email shortly afterwards, so there's no need to take notes unless you'd like to do so. And in the event that you're having any issues with the audio or visual components of the webinar, please use the raised hand feature in the GoToWebinar control panel, or you can type us a message and we'll try to get that resolved for you as quickly as possible. So my name is Drew Mancini, and I'm the Digital Marketing Manager here at Lawlytics. I have a background as a marketing consultant for solos and small law firms in digital marketing practices as well as branding. And now I continue to enjoy helping to make marketing more accessible and enjoyable for attorneys by really just working to create those resources that demystify successful marketing practices. So the success of your law firm website is largely dependent on its ability to show up on relevant search results that your potential clients are conducting. And in order to show up in more of your potential clients' web searches, you need high quality, optimized written content on those web pages. So it's no secret what type of content Google gives preference to when providing search results to its users. But as an attorney who's just trying to target their local ideal client online, you might find yourself struggling with matching your web content with Google's success formula. So writing website content that is Google approved is really simple, it's straightforward, and it can be achieved with little to no budget. With the right tools, with the right knowledge and mindset, your firm's website can effectively target and convert clients using Google's free organic search traffic. So today we're going to be discussing the basics of content marketing for SEO. We're going to talk about what Google wants from your web content and also go over some local marketing strategy for law firms. And today I wanted to first start with an overview of Google's most recent core update to Google Search. This was rolled out in last month, past August, and they just finished it early this month. So I want to just review that all with you. So when Google was rolling out this update, they announced that the update was designed to improve the quality of their search results by showing content on their search engine that people will find genuinely useful. And this is really not anything new because when Google rolls out updates, it's typically for a few different reasons, and those reasons tend to stay the same. One, they want to match search results with content that provides users genuine value and relevance. Two, they want to create revised advice for website owners for recovery to help them understand how to improve or recover their website ranking. And three, they roll out these updates because they want to help better promote useful content from small and independent publishers. So that is definitely a win for lawyers and for everyone here today. So in this update, there are a few main takeaways. One being that there's going to be an even greater focus on the Google user. Meaning, if your content strategy is search engine focused over user needs focused, your website might be negatively impacted following this update. Google is wanting website owners to migrate away from constructing their websites and content to whatever is assumed will just perform on search, and instead put all of your focus into creating web content that is substantive, that's people first, helpful, and of course, high quality. At a minimum, your content should be working to answer the questions of your potential clients. Another takeaway from this update is that Google is discouraging people from going for that quick fix if they find that their website is struggling to show up in search results. After every core update, there's a potential for your law firm website to perform differently on search. And if this is the case for you, Google just reassures users that focusing on meaningful changes rather than quick fixes is going to be the best approach to helping your website's visibility online. So if you find that a page or several pages have been underperforming, it really can be tempting, or you might even find advice online to just delete bad SEO elements or delete the page altogether, but Google is actually now discouraging this approach and instead suggests making substantive user-centric improvements to these pages rather than trashing them. And finally, it's important to remember that Google's search generative experience, also known as Google SGE, is going to be looped in with all of these new quality standards. So because regular search results are held to the latest quality standard, Google's AI generated overviews that we're now seeing at the top of search engine results, um, these are going to be inherently held to that same standard because they're all kind of in that same space. So as a result, this core update demonstrates that the overall value of web content is going to be more critical than ever. So now that we're familiar with the latest updates to Google's search engine, I want to just start with a little crash course on search engine optimization. And for some of you, SEO might still be that really intimidating acronym because it can often be framed as this super complex thing and super complex concept, but it's really, in fact, a very straightforward practice. So I'll take you through that in the next couple of slides. So in order for Google to give its users the most useful information, which is its whole objective, search algorithms are going to look at multiple factors and signals, and the weight applied to each factor will vary depending on the nature of the user's search query. So for example, if a potential client is looking for current news topics, the content freshness is going to play a bigger role than just like dictionary definitions. And so Google is kind of always considering multiple factors when it's prioritizing what shows up in its search engine. So the first key signal is meaning, which is just Google's understanding of the meaning of the search query. And what's interesting for our purposes is that Google considers keywords, language, localization, and current events when determining the context of your potential client's search queries. And that's what we're going to break down in a little bit in a future slide. And then there's relevance. And the most basic signal that information is relevant is when content contains the same keywords as your search query. So that one's pretty straightforward. Then there's the quality of the content, which will be determined by measuring the page's expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, which is another concept that we'll break down in just a bit. Another key search signal Google uses is the usability of the content, which has to do with the page experience aspects like accessibility and mobile friendliness. So that just reminds us not only does the content have to be high quality, but the website itself has to be high quality. And then there's the context and settings in relation to the written content. And Google uses information such as the user's location, past search history, and search settings to determine what is most relevant for that user in that exact moment. So that's really the element that's helping your website get matched with potential clients in your local area when they're researching their legal issue. So now let's talk about what is SEO and why does it work. And to first understand SEO, you have to understand the true purpose of Google for its users. So in most cases, as you've probably experienced for yourself, you ask Google a question and it gives you answers. Once you get those answers, you then browse through them and go through some sort of self-serve process in order to figure out whatever you set out to figure out. Google considers a successful user interaction to be one that gets you the answer that you're looking for in the quickest and most efficient way possible. So now, in order for Google to increase its likelihood of that successful user interaction, it needs to be able to provide its users with quality user-focused web pages. So if you're giving Google what it needs to best serve its users, it's then going to reward you with better visibility in more relevant and local search results. So at this point, you need to know what exactly makes for a high quality and user focused page. 10 times out of 10, Google is going to make this distinction using the written content that's on your website. Although Google is certainly a sophisticated tool, All it's really doing is scraping the internet for billions of pages of written content, categorizing it by subject matter, and helping users match with pages based on what they entered into the search bar. And that's what makes taking a content-based approach to your law firm, your website's SEO, the number one most effective way to get eyes on your website. And it's also what makes the most sense considering Google's redeclared focus that we saw in the core update. So every web page on your website will need to have three key elements to be effective, and those are content strategy, content structure, and then the content itself. Strategy is really just figuring out how you can be or become optimally visible to potential clients online. So this is taking into consideration what your potential clients are searching for, the keywords, and using a locally focused lens when you're writing. The good structure is a combination of the visible structure of the content on the page as well as the technical behind the scenes elements. Both of these are taken care of by the Lawlytics platform so that you can easily create and publish content that attracts new potential clients. And then there's the content itself, which needs to be high quality and of value to your readers. Potential clients want answers about their case or matter, and search engines want to provide the most useful answers to those questions. So that good high quality content works to address both of those needs, and you're working together much more efficiently. Lastly, just a note on content freshness. There are a lot of indications that fresh content is also important to Google and can be rewarded with better visibility in search results. And I just say this because while you're setting up your own bulletproof content strategy for your website, I also want you to just keep in mind that you'll see even better results if you continuously post to your website with something like a new blog or a new case result or something similar to that about once a month. Because not only does this signal to Google that you continue to provide quality content to your visitors, but it also just looks good on your website to have new and updated content. So in this next part, I want to discuss your website content plan based on what we've learned so far about what Google wants and how to achieve search engine optimization. So in one part, I'll take you through everything you need to create high quality content. And then the second element of this is what you need to produce locally relevant content for your website that's going to really act as that final puzzle piece for how you're going to get in front of your potential clients on search. So step one is to create high quality content. Google's automated ranking systems are designed to present helpful, reliable information that's primarily created to benefit people instead of just gaining search engine rankings in the top search results. Meaning you need to be providing information that's helpful so that it works to answer the questions of your potential clients. It needs to be reliable, meaning you're able to display a level of expertise in the topic and that it's 100% accurate. And then also display that it's people first, meaning that it's not just a jumble of nonsensical keywords, and it's also displayed in a way that's user friendly for the reader. So one of the best ways to see if you're on the right track with producing high quality content is to just ask yourself a handful of questions. You want to ask yourself things like if the content provides original information, reporting, research, or analysis. You want to know if the content provides a substantial, complete, or comprehensive description of the topic. And then you also want to know if the main heading provides a descriptive, helpful summary of the content, among many other things. I'd actually like to share the link to Google's recommended self-audit questions in case you'd like to take a look at those, because there are quite a few ways that you can go about self-auditing your content for your website. And finally, there is a more official system for rating page quality, and this is done using the EEAT Quality Rater Guidelines. And EEAT stands for expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Of these aspects, trust is actually determined by Google to be the most important. The others contribute to trust, but content doesn't necessarily have to demonstrate all of them. So for example, some content might be helpful based on the experience it demonstrates, while other content might be helpful because of the expertise it shares. What's more, Google's ranking systems will give even more weight to content that aligns with EEAT standards if the website or the topic of the page is deemed to fit within the YMYL category. And YMYL stands for Your Money, Your Life, and it includes topics that could significantly impact the health, financial stability, or the safety of people, or the welfare or well-being of society. So it's kind of a big umbrella, but law firm websites are included within this standard, making your quality rater guidelines a little bit more important for your websites. So now let's move on to what high quality content actually looks like. High quality content tends to be more information dense and thoroughly answers the questions that brought a potential client to your website. You really want to think of your website as an opportunity to position yourself and your firm as experts in your area of law. You want to look professional, and you also might want to pursue thought leadership in your subject matter. And at the same time, you're also maximizing your reach on Google by creating more opportunities for relevant and local search queries to match with your website content. But all of that being said, you can't just write a bunch of content in your lawyer voice and expect that to be effective in attracting clients. Instead, your content needs to be written in plain language to appeal to more of a broad audience. And if you do explain anything legal, of course, make sure to do this plainly or provide sufficient clarification. I also want to note about the readability of your content. The first thing you should consider is the length for your content. So finding the best page length for each web page should be done on a case-by-case basis. And there's not really any one formula for doing so, but as a rule of thumb, we do advise attorneys to write website content until your message is sufficiently conveyed and that you're confident a potential client would find the information educational. So when writing website content, you want to keep in mind that both quantity and quality are important to get the most value out of your content efforts. So what I mean by case basis is that there's going to be times when you should keep your content brief and other times when a deeper dive will make the most sense. So in short, shorter content makes sense when your topic simply just calls for fewer words and you can get your point across sufficiently without a ton of extra and unnecessary fluff. Or longer content might make sense for your practice area subtopic pages so that you can fully explain a topic to your reader. The next element of improving the readability of your web content is following the correct formatting techniques. So this will most likely involve using titles and subheaders in your written content, as well as things like internal linking, shorter paragraphs, and helpful visual cues such as bulleted or numbered lists. And as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, Lawlytics already has all of these formatting tools built into the platform so that there's no need for anything special or technical that you need to know to get your pages looking and functioning exactly how you want and need them to. And lastly, to improve the readability of your written content, you also need to consider the reading level that you're using. Marketing professionals recommend keeping your writing to an 8th grade level or below due to the reader's tendency to just scan the page of content before they commit to reading it. So if your content is written in a way that is easy to understand while scanning, again, those shorter paragraphs, bulleted lists, things like that, the reader is going to be much more likely to engage with that page and they're going to engage with it for a longer period of time. And last, I want to talk about the Lawlytics solution that's helping attorneys create pages of high quality content in just one sitting. Lawlytics offers the ultimate content solution for attorneys looking to maximize their presence on Google. We have a built-in tool to your Lawlytics dashboard that gives you access to over 320 practice area topics that you can customize and publish to your website with ease in just minutes. So each piece of content has already been engineered and professionally written for optimal performance on Google with features such as those internal link opportunities, optimized subtitles, and it's just curated to help build trust and authority with potential clients. We're always adding new content to the library, and we also give members a quick way to request new topics that they'd like to see in the library. And I'll give you a quick tool or tour of this tool at the end, but please let me know if you have any questions about this along the way. Our next part of creating this content plan is to develop local content. So the first step toward more local content for your website is going to be to first understand what your potential clients are searching for on search engines. So you might think that this is actually difficult to do because, it's hard sometimes to get in the mind of your potential clients, but the search behavior of your potential clients is actually very predictable. First, they're likely to be searching something pretty specific. So it's kind of unlikely that someone will search something like PI attorney, Austin, Texas. Instead, they're just a real person who got in a very scary accident with an 18-wheeler on the interstate, and they have no experience with this kind of thing. They've never hired a lawyer, they've never been in this sort of accident before. So they search something like, what do I do after I get hit by a truck? Google is then going to take this information your potential client has given it, remember those key search indicators, and it's going to produce results that are not only relevant to that specific question and all of those words, but it's going to be locally relevant. So using this example as a jumping off point, you can apply this so-called prediction technique for your law firm by thinking about what questions your clients are often coming to you with. What are those hot topic and hot button questions that they usually have right off the bat? And chances are you get a lot of the same questions, and chances are that's what they're asking Google directly. The next thing you'll want to do with that information is to create a broad to specific framework for your law firm's local pages. And this is done by applying a location hierarchy to your website content. So again, in our example, our potential client was in a trucking accident on the interstate in Austin, Texas. So your website content can mirror this search in several different ways in order to appear in that potential client's search results, starting with their general location, all the way down to the exact road they were driving on if they were to include that in their search. So when you break up that one search into all of its possible parts, you're essentially creating several entry points for your website and greatly increasing your chances of being found online. And again, I'll note that just having one mega page on your website with a laundry list of locations and accident types, like maybe you are tempted to write all of the possible major roads that trucking accidents could happen on. This is not something you're going to want to do for your website, and it's not going to have the effect that you're looking for. Google doesn't want you creating content that is for search engines, but creating content that's for real people. So you're going to notice that highly specific pages that closely match search queries are going to be much more effective than something that is just keyword dense. So your website is the foundation of your digital marketing strategy for your firm, and a high quality and modern website is the first step to targeting your local ideal client more efficiently and affordably. What we do is streamline the technical and digital marketing aspects of managing your firm's website, and our platform is super simple to use and puts lawyers in control of their digital marketing. And what you see on the screen here are just some of the ways that Lawlytics can help you achieve your marketing goals. But I also want to take you through a quick look at the technology, especially at that content creation tool, so that I can show you around a little bit. And if you have any questions at any point of this tour, please go ahead and drop those for me in the chat. So let's go over to our dashboard. So if you have a website with us, this is going to be kind of your landing spot with all of your shortcuts to get to anything you need on the back end of your website to make edits on so that you can publish them to your website. So we have that shortcut to the content library that I mentioned. You have the SEO snapshot, which is all the ways that your website has been optimized for search. I'm also going to take you through that because I think that's relevant to today. And then you can find quick resources like the newest blog posts. You can check out your Google Analytics reports for your website, everything you need for there. So let's first go into one of our websites here. So if you had multiple websites with us, that's where they're going to be displayed here. but let's just go into one. And immediately we're taken into the back end of this particular website. So on the left side of my page is basically just my website's navigation menu that appears horizontally. And then on the right, as I click through each of the pages, that's just all of the content that's on that particular page. So to kind of put this in perspective a little bit, I'll show you the front end. So everything that was on the left, again, that's our navigation menu. This is just an example of what your website could look like with a click to call phone number, your logo up top and firm name. Maybe you have an image slider, some more information, clickable icons for your practice areas, as well, of course, a contact form on that home page. And as I mentioned, all of these pages or all of this backend area has the pre-formatting that you need so that your pages look and are formatted correct for Google's purposes. So as you see, like all of these headings that you'll need for all of your pages, you can add widgets, image, video, anything. If you're familiar with anything like Word docs or Google Docs, then you'll be able to find your way around this dashboard here. So let's go into creating a new page with the content library. So this is the homepage of the content library. Again, we have 20 practice areas at the moment, over 320 practice area topics. And as I mentioned, it's growing on an ongoing basis. So this is not going to stay the same forever. And you can request topics on demand. So let's say we are a family law firm. We've got topics like child legal issues, divorce, family law, and we can also view more for these particular topic categories. But let's say I wanted to do this Guardian FAQ. So FAQs are really great for your website because it's one page that's really packed with a lot of different questions and keywords that people might be searching on Google directly. So this is really helpful to have in the content library. We can see all the ways that it's been optimized. It's got a bunch of link opportunities, optimized subtitles, it's a high converter page, and then everything that's in blue on our right is what I'm going to be customizing in this next step. So once I'm satisfied with this template, I click use. And in the past, I have customized other pieces of content. So my entries were actually saved from that past customization. So I am skipping a step here, saving some time. And I can see that everything had auto-populated on the right for myself. So I'm going to complete the customization. And then I'm brought back to this back end of my dashboard where I can go ahead and take this piece of content, maybe add some grids or tables, click to call phone numbers, image, video, a widget, a contact form, whatever I need that is relevant to this piece of content. I can add. I can also reference this light bulb down here and browse through all of these additional content suggestions to kind of just take this piece to the next level. So it's suggesting I use subheadings and remember readability. So I can go ahead and click these off once I'm satisfied with my completion of these, X out, and then the next time if I had saved this as a draft and I go back in, my progress will be saved. So again, you can save it as a draft, but let's just say we were happy with it and wanted to publish this. And right away on the front end of my website, this is ready to go. It's already published and formatted correctly so that Google can index it and people can start finding me on search. Another feature I'll take you through is that SEO snapshot that we saw on our homepage here. So again, this is kind of just an overview of all of the ways that your website with Lawlytics is already optimized for search. So you've got several different categories like accessibility, content, page speed. And what is convenient about these is that you can browse all of these completed optimizations, functions kind of as a checklist. But then under each category, you are given optional optimizations. So these are things that that are just suggestions that can help you take your website to the next level if that's something you're looking to do. So, for example, integrate with UserWay, which is a free tool that helps your website with accessibility. Or maybe you want to add blogs and case results to your website, which is not something that's totally required, but it does help your website to be found on search. So, this is just a really neat tool to just kind of like see how your website is already doing, but also to see how you can maybe um, take it a little bit further. So at this time, I'm going to go back to our slides here, and I do want to leave you with all of these ways that we can, or that you can get in touch with us if you have any questions or you'd like a demo of our technology. But I do also have a question, so I'm going to go ahead and answer that for you all. So it says, doesn't Google punish duplicate content on different websites? And so yes, Google does punish duplicate content. Um, this is avoidable for in a many different ways. So for example, even with the content library itself, that tends to be a common question that we get from members about duplicate content, which is a totally fair question to have. But as you saw, all the ways that I customized it with my own firm's information, maybe I just add a couple lines about what makes our approach, a specialized approach to that specific issue, I'm already circumnavigating Google's issue with duplicate content. Google is really looking for things that, again, are created for search engines and have that feel of just having all of those keywords and that mostly just a bunch of keywords and like no actual substantive content. So they don't mind if the same thing has been said multiple times. They just want to make sure that it's actually relevant to what that user is searching. So if your content is relevant to someone in your local area and works to answer their questions, then you're good. You're in the clear and you're giving Google what it wants to give to its users. But thank you for your question. Um, I have another question. Do you guys also manage PPC campaigns and Google AdWords campaigns? And is it a flat fee or a percentage of the ad spend? So, pay-per-click and Google AdWords is not something that we manage within ourselves. We can certainly provide suggestions and point you towards someone who can help you with those things, but it's not something that we handle in-house at the moment. But again, we have a really great support team that works with you one-on-one if that's something that's part of your personal marketing strategy. And we want to make sure that you have all of the information you need and all of the resources that you need for something like that. And then I have my next question. Does Lawlytics websites allow the user to select to view the site in English or another language such as Spanish? If so, how does that relate to SEO where they're searching in another language? So we do integrate with a program that does that toggle feature that you're talking of going from English to Spanish or English to another language. So that's not something that is native to our websites, but we can work with you to do an integration that does the toggling. For searching, if you have a website that is fully written in multiple languages, so say it was completely written in English and completely written in Spanish, then Google will still do that work of matching your website content with that search query. So that's more of how Google has indexed those pages. So if everything is properly formatted and indexed for Google, then Google should still be able to match those pages with that search query, even if it's in your second language that you provide on your website. I hope that answers your question. But thank you for these questions. I'll wait a couple minutes just to see if anything else comes to mind. But again, if something pops up later, please feel free to reach out to us. Another question, thank you. Does Lawlytics provide any guidance on how to integrate your social media platforms into your marketing? or how social media can work in conjunction with the website. So yeah, we do have a lot of great resources for this as well. Again, working with our support team, you have unlimited access to what we call strategy calls. So if social media is something that is really important to your marketing strategy, you can schedule a strategy call with us and we can kind of come up with a plan on how you want to kind of marry what your website is doing with what your social media presence is doing. For and also, for example, what you can do with Lawlytics directly is you have a way to integrate your social media accounts to your Lawlytics website directly. So you can add Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, I believe, all three of those. And so, say you posted a new piece of content or a new blog post, you can connect your social media accounts with your Lawlytics account, and it will automatically publish to your social media feed if you set it up that way, so that you can kind of skip a step and you can make sure every time you post on your website, something's getting posted to your social media. So one thing about being successful with social media is just having that consistent presence. So that's something that kind of helps you maintain that. Thank you for that question. Um, Again, I'll just wait around just a little bit in case anything else comes through. And if you need to drop off today, I really do appreciate you all coming out, and thank you so much for hanging out today and for all of your questions. Okay, this is looking like the end. So again, thank you so much, and we will see you guys next time. Have a good one.